Alok, I want to thank you first of all for being on part of this podcast.
Thank you.
You know, it's taken forever for me to get you on it. I mean, wait how many?
Is
Yes, it took me.
I think it was the other way around.
It's been forever for me to get you on it, but I'm so happy we're finally doing it.
Thank you so much.
We're so happy. Listen, as I ask everyone, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were born, which I kind of know, but I don't know.
So I'm from New Delhi, India.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Born, well, I'm not telling you any dates, but a long time back.
Okay.
Came to Japan in 1988. So it's now my 33rd year running here.
Okay.
And straight out of university, year or so, came to Japan. And
Tell me about your family. How many kids in your family?
Myself and my older sister.
And your older sister, how many years difference between you?
She's 3 years older, and she lives in London.
Are you guys close?
Extremely.
Really?
Extremely. Probably talk on the phone about 10 times a week.
What does she do in London?
She is a housewife.
Okay.
Well, she started out as a housewife, then she had her kids.
Okay.
And when the kids grew up, she realized there's a bit of a void.
Mm-hmm.
So she went and studied and picked up her PhD from Oxford. She runs a charity. She runs quite a few other institutions back in London. She's very, very involved and active.
Mm-hmm. So what about your mom and dad? What kind of work did they do?
So my dad passed away
I'm sorry to hear that.
about 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
My mother lives alone in New Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
She is also a counselor,
Mm-hmm.
but now she's retired, independent. She has moved into a senior citizens community back in India.
Mm-hmm.
So she's having...
She's in good health and everything's
She's
okay
in
with her?
very good health and extremely active.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Probably if you think my sister's active and I'm active, she's probably a cumulative sum of both of us.
Right.
So yeah, that's...
Now I know you travel a lot too. When you travel, do you go back to India a lot, or do you?
So work makes me travel a lot. It used to till all this thing happened, and that was almost about once or twice a month. But not just India; it's mostly Europe, Middle East, India, and Asia. These were the places.
Now, where did you go? Where did you do your college? Where were you?
I have been only in India till I came to Japan.
All the way
I've
through?
never ever lived anywhere else.
You never traveled outside of
I
India?
have never.
Well, to what age?
Till the age I came here, which was, okay, there it goes, till I was 23.
Okay.
And till that time, I have never studied or lived anywhere outside.
Did you have any desire to?
Even if I had, I think at the time when I was growing up, it was challenging, A, because of the resources.
Okay.
It was not easy to get out unless you could spend pots of money, and we couldn't. And two, or you had this amazing ability in your academics or something where you could go get a job. That also wasn't there. So in my times, most of my friends from school, they graduated and moved to the US for studies or to England, but I was the
One that
who
had
was
to stay
left
back.
behind. Yeah.
And you said, what kind of work did your father do?
He was also in jewelry. So
Okay.
my family has been in this business now for almost 400 years.
400
years. Yeah.
So how many generations was that? I mean, do you know your great?
So I would probably...
Is this all on your father's side?
Only from my father's side.
Okay.
Totally. So I would probably have heard till my great grandfather. Before that is sort of hearsay.
Okay.
What you do. But again, having said 400 years, India is an old country
I know
with a
that. Of
massively
course.
old culture.
I know.
And jewelry is an integral part of our whole culture, again, heritage. So any jewelry family which is even 150 or 200 years old is not that
unusual.
But 400 years for us is one of the... It's a long one.
Okay.
Yeah.
My goodness. And that's something you wanted to do, or did something
Absolutely not.
your father made you're the only son?
Never.
You're the only son?
Never ever wanted to get into jewelry. I always wanted to do medicine.
But you didn't have a choice.
I did have a choice.
Wait, your father didn't want you to cover to carry it on?
So basically, my family, my grandfather was the one who was the patriarch, or who made all the decisions for everybody, and he never pushed anyone. But I think just destiny. I couldn't follow up with my medicine, I did not want to work with my father, and so I was left with really no choices, trying to find out what to do with my life. Ended up in Japan, and
Wait. So you didn't go straight into the jewelry business?
not at all.
You didn't. You didn't want to work with your father because he was in the jewelry business.
Yeah. Not because of that.
Not because you just.
There were other reasons too.
It's normal. Yeah. Okay. You just okay.
Yeah.
You'd heard the stories 100 times, over and over and over again, and they never changed.
Yeah.
So you decided to come to Japan. What made you decide to come to Japan?
My uncle was over here at that time.
In the jewelry business?
In the jewelry business.
Okay.
So my grandfather came to Japan and participated in the 1970 Osaka Expo, the Banpaku, and he realized, oh, this is a great place, good place to do business. So my father came in over here at that time, and I also came in over here, and I was 6 or 7 years old at that time, and I went to Japanese school.
Wait just a minute. Wait, see, now you're confusing me. See, now you just changed your story.
Did I?
You said, yes, you did.
Okay.
You just got through saying that you never left India.
Yeah, that was
you did
the
all
age
of your
5
education.
Or 6, lads.
Wait,
that doesn't count anywhere.
You said until you're 23. You didn't leave India.
No, but I left India, but I was in Japan only for probably not even a year.
Okay, so you don't count that.
I
you
don't
actually
think
left.
that is
okay,
count.
that does count. But you mean to live, to really stay and to have
Yes,
roots.
to study and
But
to
the only
pursue
place
something.
outside of India you had been was Japan.
Probably at that time, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came here then.
I came here.
And did you remember any? Oh
I
yeah, well, how old
do.
were you? How old
Actually,
were you?
I do
How old were
remember.
you? You were 5.
I was 6 years old at that time.
Oh, of course you'd remember that. So what did you remember of it?
God, I remembered. Do you remember Giant Baba?
Yes.
Do you remember Kamen Rider?
Yes.
All those smart balls and everything.
And you had a ball, huh?
It was probably the most vivid memories of my childhood I can still think of. They were great times. And the school I went to, I was the first and the only gaijin student over there.
Right.
So, and you get bestowed by presents and this and that. They were good times. Very, very good times.
Good. So then when you came back at 23, you came
No,
back...
I went back at that time. Yeah, when I came back at 23, yes.
At 23, then you came and you worked with your uncle?
I worked with my uncle,
What did
and I
you do?
went back to that school looking for my old teachers.
Oh, did you?
I did. But I couldn't find anyone of
Oh,
them.
they weren't there?
I couldn't find, yeah.
Wow.
So those were very good memories.
Did you have any friends that you remember?
I did. I did connect with 1 or 2 friends, but it was a long time gap. So it was nice.
But they
meeting
had to
them.
have remembered you since you're the only guy.
Yes, exactly.
They knew who you were.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they were probably so happy that you came to see them.
And I was living again in the same apartment where I was when I left at 5 because my father was there, and then he gave it off to my uncle. So it was a nice reconnect. Very nice reconnect.
Okay, so then when you came back, what did your uncle have you doing when you came back here?
So I came over here. He was also in the jewelry business.
Right.
So it's because of him I'm over here. And I owe everything that I have been able to do well now is because of him.
Is he still alive?
No. So
He
once
passed
I
away.
came in after 6
Now,
months.
this is your father's brother.
My father's younger brother.
How many brothers did your father have?
2 brothers.
Okay.
Yes. So total 3.
And your father was the oldest?
My father the oldest and 2 younger brothers after
Okay.
that. So he was the one in between. And he says, look, don't worry. You're looking for something. Come around to Tokyo. Come around to Japan. And let me see if I can sort you out.
Did he have family of his own?
He had a family here, a wife and a child and a son. My cousin brother.
Is he still here?
He is still here. They are still here.
My goodness.
But the thing is, I came and we were working together, and 6 months after I came here, he was 41. He passed away. So that was shocking. That was a big blow to
I
the
can
whole
imagine.
family. Exactly. So then it was a question of, do I stay on, or do I go back to India? But then if I've come over here, then you say, okay.
Now say it again one more time. As soon as you came over,
I came, and then about 6-8 months later,
he died.
he died.
Was he sick?
No, we were talking like this,
Like
and
this
he just
is-
fell down and he passed
Oh,
away.
you were
we
there.
we
when
were
it-
together. I was the one who was
Oh
talking
my
to him.
goodness!
Yeah, that was
I can imagine.
big.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so then when he passed, then you had to make this decision,
I had to make.
and
the
you didn't know really what to do.
I had no idea what to do, but again, I think beggars can't be choosers, so you stay on rather than go back. And two, again, I owe it also to all the people who were there at that time, the people in the office and clients, my Japanese clients who were there, who were the biggest support factor. Again,
They're loyal.
incredible, and they didn't have to be. I mean, how long did I know them? Not much, but they were there in the front to help me out. Anything which I wanted, they would just guide me. That is,
Well,
that was
that's
good.
something.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I say that most people that have been in business for a while here find that out. When my company was going bankrupt, they said, Mr. Lee, if they come here and wrap a ribbon, the red ribbon they used to do to embarrass you, to let you know that your company's gone under, if they do that, we want to continue to work with you. I said, doing what? From where? They said, from their homes. Even though I'm going bankrupt, they said, yeah. And I said, doing what? They said, whatever you want us to do. And it put tears in my eyes because that kind of loyalty, I don't think any other country really
Nowhere
has.
else. I mean, in fact, loyalty to even to the point that my grandfather, there was one client who I really wanted to get in touch with. I wanted to start business with him, and he wouldn't take my calls. I mean, I'm just another diamond dealer over here trying to sell diamonds, and he probably got about 100 calls a day. And then I met him at some exhibition, and I said, I'm not going to let this opportunity go. And I went up to him, gave him my card. He saw the card and he recognized my surname. It's not a very easy surname to forget. And then he asked me, am I my grandfather's son? He had met my grandfather during the expo, and my grandfather helped him out.
And he never forgot it.
And he never forget it. He said, come to my office tomorrow. The next day. Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. That loyalty is incredible, as you say.
That's what I like. I love that. So anyway, so you stayed. So when did you finally get your footing? How old were you when you finally got your footing? You felt like, okay, I can do this.
The day I started my own business, when I went independent, that is exactly about 21 years ago.
So how many years?
Okay,
wait,
so
21 years ago.
once my grandfather, once my uncle passed away,
Right.
I carried on in his company
Okay.
to help the family out
Okay.
for the business which was already going. But I guess you need to progress and you need to carry on with something. And my desire was always to do something on my own,
Right.
and to branch off to be independent in what I wanted to create. So I left 21 years ago.
But how many years were you with them before you left?
About
So
8 years.
8 years,
8
and then
years,
you went on your own.
Yeah.
And how did you go about doing that? Did you use support from? Well, you had clients.
So you have clients, but you need to start somewhere.
Okay.
You need to start somewhere, and I don't know. I think you just take the view that when I came here, you came with nothing. So the only way to go is a little higher than where you were. So, and then you take the view, if you lose everything, you go back to base one.
Okay, so 21 years ago, did you have any times when you thought like, in your business, the time when you have to go in the bathroom by yourself, you have a crowd of people.
No,
that
the
start
day
crying.
starting your own business was tough because you are going into the unknown.
Right.
You've never done it before,
Right.
but you take a chance because you say, okay, if I don't do it now, when else do I do it? But then the day I did, 6 months later, my best client went bankrupt, and I lost most of my money there.
Okay.
So that was not a good beginning at all.
And then what did you do when that happened?
Start again. That's the only thing you can do. What else?
And then how did you come out of it? What brought you out of that?
It's just time, I guess. And again, as I said, your clients who helped you, they said, okay, we give you preferential treatment. We will do this on payments and etc.
They continue to.
They continue to. Absolutely. And then I think you remodel your business. And if I lost a lot of money in that bankruptcy, it's probably, I would say that it was not 100% that guy's fault.
Of course.
I
He
would
didn't try to go bankrupt.
No, he
Of
did.
course not,
He
yeah.
did. He did. And most of the bankruptcies in my business over here are like that.
How? Would they do it?
They would do it. They would. There is no reason for them to go bankrupt, but
his mismanagement or whatever.
or the intent,
I understand.
right? So that is something which I should have been able to read.
Oh, But
right?
you hadn't enough time.
I did
It had
not.
never happened. But
I
now
did
you
not.
can read it.
Now I can read it. I hope I can read it now. I think I can read it. That time I did not.
Okay.
Just the sheer attractiveness of being able to do so much was the driving force without really wanting to stop and say, hey, is this okay or not?
Right,
Let me do my due diligence a little bit more. I did not do it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough lesson to learn.
But you're going to learn it some way.
You have to learn it somewhere.
Some way, somehow.
So in a way, good that it was at that time.
Early on.
So
Yeah, where you still had the drive to continue. You did not want to stop.
There's no other way.
My goodness. Okay, so what kind of products do you deal in? Not just diamonds. Only
So-
diamonds?
So
No.
in the beginning when I came, it was only diamonds and colored stones.
Okay.
And it was mostly only wholesale trading.
Mm-hmm.
You buy in bulk and you sell in bulk. But things were very good. This is pre-2007 and everything. After that, you realize that things have changed. The markets are down, so you need to remodel yourself. So the wholesale trade was put aside,
Mm-hmm.
and I came into jewelry.
Okay.
So all the jewelry that you see,
Right.
that is what I do. The thing which worked for me in the jewelry was, I found that I have a good ability to make designs and do the manufacturing.
You were designing.
I do all the designing myself.
You have no one outside. That's all
No,
from you.
I do. It's everything in house. I do all the designing myself.
My goodness.
But my clientele was all overseas. Totally overseas. I think for the first 10, 12, 13 years,
Mm-hmm.
I hardly did any business in Japan. It was all overseas. And I think what worked for me, and I was really fortunate, that taking a product from Japan overseas,
At that time, right? They
your
knew it was quality.
marketing,
They knew it was
your
quality.
marketing fee is zero because it's made in Japan.
They're made in Japan,
Exactly.
period.
Even if I want to make a bad product, I cannot.
I understand, right.
So that opened a lot of doors. And fortunately for me, again, I think I did keep my network of good contacts and friends even whilst I was over here. So it was not too difficult to get back in again.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped, yes.
Now you said get back in again. How?
In jewelry.
In jewelry.
Because now you're doing the reverse.
That's right. That's right.
So
then now you reinvented yourself again recently because you were doing everything outside. Now you come back.
So now I came back only in the last 6-7 years.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, I'm living in Japan. I think I need to concentrate also in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's still the third, fourth largest market in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do something over here. And again, it's worked out really well.
Particularly because of this COVID too. Your timing couldn't have been any better.
No, I started much before.
I know much
Yeah.
before that, but if you hadn't, it
Yes,
would have been very
yes, of
very
course.
difficult
Yes.
if you had not. So it was a good decision on
So
your
it was
part.
a good decision. And the interesting part is the markets in Japan
Mm-hmm.
and outside is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
The culture is different. The clientele is different. The mindset is different. So you really have to re-switch and reconfigure for what you're doing over here
Mm-hmm.
and what you propose to clients outside.
Okay.
It's
Different, yeah.
totally different.
So when to get onto the not logistic parts, but the gears, in order for you to do business here, you'd have to be able to speak Japanese
Yes.
to do proper business.
Correct.
So even though you went to this little hoikuen when you were,
Mhm.
6 years old,
Mhm.
elementary school,
Mhm.
you didn't learn much. I mean, you could have learned a little bit. even though you had a
Konnichiwa
year.
and sayonara.
That's
Yeah.
right, that's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So when did you pick it up again?
Frankly, I think I have still not picked it up
No,
well.
you speak
No,
Japanese.
no,
I've
no,
listened to you too
no.
many times on the phone, and there's not a bit of English
Lance-
coming out your mouth.
Lance,
It is
if
beautiful.
after having been
Come on.
here for 30 years, you still can't speak the little which I do,
All
then
right,
it's really
that's
sad.
So that's what you
Okay?
do.
Yeah.
But that's what you do. You
so
do it well.
Again, I'm
You
saying
do
this
well.
on camera again over
Right,
here.
right,
My wife tells me, who's Japanese,
right.
that if I was to meet somebody for the first time and they ask me for how long have I been in Japan, I should say 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Because for 30 years,
Well,
my
mine was the
level
same.
of Japanese
But,
is...
but the thing is, I think what happens to foreigners like us, and I've been here a little bit longer than you, and I speak probably just like you do, if that much. I had a translator with me the whole time, whenever I did my business, because it was better for me to have it look like I don't understand or speak than if I did.
So again, to your point,
so comprehension is very good.
I think that has been my biggest regret. My biggest regret
was what?
That I did not go to a Japanese school
Okay.
to learn proper Japanese, written, to write and to read.
I understand.
I envy those people, the foreigners who come here, they work hard, 2 years, go to university. I did not do that.
Right.
I think you can involve yourself
if you need
much more with the Japanese in the social aspect.
If you want to,
it's not just business, it's about building
Well,
relationships.
especially your business is that.
It is
so
about
much
relationships. A lot about everything is
Because
about trust and relationship, right?
Right.
So if I was able to express myself much more eloquently and much more,
you think then the price tag could be a lot.
there is no doubt about it from my point of view.
Okay. Can you say the most expensive piece of jewelry you've sold to date? Oh, okay, don't do that. Better yet, let's do this, because you hesitated. Do this. What was an amount that you sold that when you said, wow, and you felt like, wow, it was for the first time?
For the first time?
For the first time. There was really...
How much was it? I think $10,000.
Okay.
Oh my God. When you converted that into Indian rupees, that was even higher than the entire education of all the colleges my entire family went for the last 50 years. Right? I mean, that was wow. That was...
Well, see, you're saying $10,000, but just for the people listening to this, I want them to know that I know that you loaned a piece of jewelry to someone during one of their big events that they wore around their neck that was several $1 million worth. Now, how much was it worth? You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your best friend's wife, and you loaned that to her. How much was that worth?
I think that was about 45 million yen.
That's what I thought, right?
But that was for charity.
What doesn't matter what it's for? You have
which I got back.
That's good. Well, then you do. What are your plans for the future?
Just keep on doing what I'm doing and just build it up to a scale that it's not about the numbers. It's about the satisfaction that you get in building up your brand to the point where you feel that you have been able to express your own creativity to the maximum. And to that point, I think I still have a lot to do, and I think you just keep learning all the time, right? So
that is fantastic. You know who I think you were just speaking to? You're speaking to everyone that's interested in this, but I want you to tell someone who's one of your biggest admirers, my son Louis.
Oh, he's
so what are you saying to him? Leave something for him on this podcast. What should he do? Well, you know where he's at right now and what he wants to do, and he's always showing me his newest piece. And he's going to come to you. By the way, I should tell you that he just told me today, he's going to come to you. And he said, Dad, do you think? I said, don't worry, please go to him. He would.
I think for him, let your passion drive you. If it's your passion, just let it be. Do not think about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. Fortunately, we have our support system. Okay, so it will be unfortunate that having a support system and you still don't follow your passion.
There you go. That's
I think that is, as you say in Japanese, mottainai.
Mottainai.
Tottemo mottainai.
I agree with you 100%.
You wouldn't want that.
Wow.
For a young boy, do what you want. The last thing that you ever want is to look back in the future. Look back and say, damn, at least I should have tried.
Isn't that the truth?
You don't want that to remain at that time.
Wow.
Never.
Thank you, Alok. I thank you for this time.
Not at all, but I think for all that you have also done and for all the pearls of wisdom which I always hear from you, connected with your family, your work, all these years. No, you can cut that out, but I'm telling you this on your face. Don't worry about that. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. Even though I think
you've always been one of my biggest. I really admire everything. You've always kept your word. You've always been in there. You've made jewelry for me.
But you have not kept your word to me.
What was that?
You have not taken me on your ride onto your.
I don't know if you can take it. No.
And it's not around the Imperial Palace. I want to go up to Hokkaido or down to Kyushu. So there it goes. Please say it into the camera.
No, but you've made some really nice pieces for me,
Thank
which
you
I'm
very
going to put up so people can see it. My company logo, you put diamonds in it, gold, and then I have a buckle, the dragon on it that you gold-plated for me.
You should ask Louis to do that.
Well, he wasn't doing that at that time.
But now he can do that.
At that time, now he can.
He
He hasn't started working in gold yet.
Well, let him do it in silver. That's fine.
He will. No,
it
he
doesn't
is.
matter.
Don't worry. He's going to do a lot of things. I'm sure. I know he will.
He's good at it.
Oh, he is. He is. There's no doubt about it. Thank you again.
My pleasure.
This has been a
Thank
real
you
pleasure.
for coming all the way over here.
Really? Oh,
thank
no,
you.
No problem whatsoever. Now I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure that you subscribe, click like, and always remember, it's all on loan. Continue to reach for the stars, and you're too blessed to be stressed.